My golden child brother tore our family apart. Now his lies and betrayals have destroyed his life, and I'm finally free to build my own future. I'm Robert, 30M, and I have an older brother, Mitch, 32M. Growing up, Mitch was always treated like the golden child of the family because he fit perfectly into what our parents wanted: athletic, outgoing, and academically successful. I, on the other hand, was more introverted and interested in computers and technology, which my parents never really understood or cared about. Our childhood set the pattern for how things would always be. When Mitch wanted to join expensive sports teams or go to special training camps, our parents found the money somehow. But when I needed a new computer or wanted to attend tech workshops, I was told we couldn't afford it, and I should focus on real activities like sports. They even forced me to join the football team in high school even though I hated it, just because Mitch had been the star quarterback. The real issue started in college. I met Laura, 31F, during my freshman year when we were partnered for a programming project. We became close friends quickly since we had similar interests and personalities. Laura was smart, kind, and really supportive of my tech dreams when my family wasn't. About 6 months after we became friends, she met Mitch when he came to visit me at college. Mitch immediately showed interest in Laura, and she was attracted to him too. I introduced them properly, and they started dating. Their relationship lasted for 3 years, and honestly, those were some of the best years of our family dynamics. Laura helped bridge the gap between me and my family. She would talk up my tech projects to our parents and help them understand what I was trying to achieve. For once, they actually seemed interested in my life. Everything fell apart when Laura discovered Mitch was cheating on her. She had gone to surprise him at work for lunch and found him making out with his coworker in his car. When she confronted him, he tried to turn it around on her, claiming she was too focused on her career and didn't give him enough attention. This was completely false. Laura had actually helped Mitch get his job through her professional connections and was always supporting his career goals. It turned out he had been seeing this coworker, Lisa, for almost 6 months. Laura was devastated. She broke up with him immediately. But Mitch wasn't just ending things. He started spreading rumors about Laura at their workplace, claiming she had been emotionally abusive and controlling. He even tried to get her fired by making false complaints to HR. Throughout all this, Mitch expected me to take his side and cut Laura out of my life. He said that as his brother, I needed to show loyalty to family. I refused because Laura was my friend first, and she had done nothing wrong. Plus, I had seen firsthand how supportive she had been of Mitch, and how badly he had treated her. This led to huge fights between Mitch and me. He would show up at my apartment unannounced, demanding that I end my friendship with Laura. When I kept refusing, he went crying to our parents, claiming I was betraying the family by maintaining a friendship with his ex. Our parents, true to form, immediately took Mitch's side. They called a family meeting at their house and ambushed me with accusations about how I was being disloyal and hurting my brother. They didn't want to hear my side of the story or acknowledge that Mitch had been the one to betray Laura's trust. According to them, family loyalty should come before everything else. The situation reached its breaking point when they gave me an ultimatum: either cut Laura out of my life completely or be cut off from the family. I chose Laura. They were shocked that I would choose a stranger over family. But to me, Laura had proven herself to be more family than they ever were. The next 4 years were tough, but transformative. I focused all my energy on building my tech startup. Laura was incredibly helpful during this period, introducing me to potential investors through her network and even helping me refine my business pitch. My company specializes in cybersecurity solutions, and we hit it big last year when several major corporations signed contracts with us. About a year ago, Laura and I realized our friendship had evolved into something more. We started dating, and it's been amazing. She moved in with me 6 months ago, and we're really happy together. Last week, my parents showed up at my office unannounced. I hadn't spoken to them since they cut me off 4 years ago. My secretary told me they were insisting it was an urgent family matter, so I reluctantly agreed to see them. They looked older than I remembered, and I could tell they were uncomfortable being there. After some awkward small talk, they got to the point. Mitch is getting married to Lisa. Yes, the same woman he cheated on Laura with. And they're planning this massive $100,000 wedding. My parents, who are both retired now, can't afford it. But Mitch is insisting on having his dream wedding. They came to ask if I would contribute since my company is doing so well. I actually laughed out loud when they asked. The audacity of showing up after 4 years of silence just to ask for money for the brother who got me cut off from the family was astounding. My mom started crying, saying I was being cruel and that family should help family. My dad got angry and said I was just jealous of Mitch's happiness and success. I told them that Mitch made his bed when he cheated on Laura and then demanded everyone cut her off. He's the one who created this rift in our family with his selfishness and entitlement. I said I wouldn't give them a penny even if I was a billionaire. They could sell their house for all I cared. They left angry, and my dad later texted saying I had deeply disappointed them and that they had expected better from their son. I blocked their numbers immediately. Laura thinks I did the right thing, but some extended family members who've heard about the situation are saying I should help since they're still my parents, regardless of past issues. I don't feel I owe them anything after how they treated me, but maybe I'm being too harsh. Ida. Update 1. The situation with my family has escalated far beyond what I expected. After I refused to help with Mitch's wedding expenses, my parents apparently went straight to him and told him about our meeting. Mitch, being the entitled person he is, completely lost it and decided to attack both me and Laura on social media. He wrote this long, detailed post on Facebook, claiming that Laura had actually been the one who cheated on him and that I had known about it the whole time but covered for her because I wanted her for myself. According to his post, I had been trying to steal his girlfriend from the beginning, and that's why I stayed friends with her after their breakup. The accusations got even wilder. He claimed that Laura had been sleeping with multiple guys from our office. We worked at the same company briefly during their relationship, and that I had helped her hide it all from Mitch. He even went as far as to suggest that Laura had only helped me with my business because we had been having an affair behind his back for years. These accusations were not only false, but completely ridiculous. Anyone who actually knew Laura knew she would never cheat on anyone. She's one of the most honest and loyal people I know. Plus, Laura and I didn't start dating until years after their breakup, and it happened naturally as our friendship evolved. But Mitch's posts caused absolute chaos in our extended family and friend circles. A lot of relatives who didn't know the full story of what happened 4 years ago started messaging me. Some were outright hostile, saying how disappointed they were that I would betray my own brother like that. Others were more passive-aggressive, saying they always knew something seemed off about my friendship with Laura. The situation got so bad that a few family members, including my cousin Rachel, who's getting married next month, called to say they wouldn't be comfortable having Laura and me at their wedding if we were really the kind of people who would do such things. Rachel had been one of the few relatives who stayed neutral during the original fallout, so this really hurt. The worst part was how these lies started affecting Laura's professional life. She's well known in our city's tech community, and several mutual business contacts had seen Mitch's posts. Some started questioning her integrity and professional ethics. One potential client even pulled out of a major deal with her consulting firm, citing concerns about her character. Laura was devastated. She wanted to post her own statement explaining the truth, but I advised against it. Getting into a social media war would only make things messier and give Mitch's lies more attention. Instead, we decided to handle this strategically. We reached out to people who had actually witnessed Mitch's cheating during his relationship with Laura. His former coworker Amy, who had left the company shortly after the whole drama, responded to our message. She revealed something we hadn't known before. Mitch hadn't just cheated with Lisa. He had been involved with multiple women at their workplace, and Amy had proof. She sent us old messages, photos, and even security camera footage from their office parking lot showing Mitch with different women. Amy said she had kept quiet at the time because Mitch had threatened her job, but she had documented everything in case she needed to protect herself. We didn't want to stoop to Mitch's level by publicly exposing him, but we quietly shared this evidence with key family members who had been believing his lies. The truth spread quickly through the family grapevine. Several relatives who had initially sided with Mitch started reaching out to apologize to us. The biggest bombshell came when my parents were forced to admit they had known about Mitch's cheating all along. My Aunt Susan, who has always been known for her directness, confronted them during a family dinner. Under pressure, they confessed that they had actually caught Mitch with another woman even before Laura found out, but they had kept quiet to protect his reputation and future prospects. This revelation caused a major rift in the extended family. Many relatives were disgusted that my parents had not only covered up Mitch's behavior, but had then punished me for standing by an innocent friend. Several of them have now refused to attend the wedding, saying they can't support such dishonesty. Yesterday, Lisa, Mitch's fiancée, reached out to Laura asking to meet. She said she had no idea about the extent of Mitch's past cheating and wanted to know if he had been faithful to her during their relationship. Laura agreed to meet her next week. Given what we've learned about Mitch's pattern of behavior, I have a feeling there are more revelations coming. My parents sent me another message this morning, this time with a half-hearted apology for cutting me off, but still asking for help with the wedding. They said they understand now that they handled things badly 4 years ago, but Mitch is still their son, and they don't want to disappoint him. I haven't responded and don't plan to. The whole situation is a mess, but in a way, I feel vindicated that the truth is finally coming out. Laura and I are trying to focus on our relationship and stay above all this drama, but something tells me this isn't over yet. Update 2. The aftermath of everything that happened has been absolutely insane. The meeting between Laura and Mitch's fiancée Emily turned out to be far more dramatic than we expected. Emily didn't just come to ask questions. She arrived with a folder full of evidence that Mitch was currently cheating on her with 2 different women from their gym. She had found suspicious messages on his phone, but had been too afraid to confront him because she was 3 months pregnant. She reached out to Laura because she knew Laura had been through something similar with Mitch and wanted advice on how to handle the situation. Laura spent several hours with Emily, showing her the evidence we had gathered about Mitch's past affairs and helping her understand that his behavior was a pattern, not a one-time mistake. Emily was devastated but also angry. She had left her job and moved cities to be with Mitch, and now she was pregnant and discovering he had never been faithful. With Laura's support, Emily finally found the courage to confront Mitch. His reaction was exactly what you'd expect. He tried to gaslight her, claiming he was just having trouble coping with pre-wedding stress and the pressure of becoming a father. He begged her not to leave him, promising he would change, and even offered to go to therapy. But Emily was done. She went public with everything, sending all the evidence to both families and posting about it on social media. She even tagged several of the relatives who had previously attacked Laura based on Mitch's lies. The wedding was officially canceled. My parents were completely devastated, but not because of Mitch's behavior. They were more concerned about the non-refundable deposits they had already paid to various wedding vendors. It turned out they had put down nearly $40,000 in deposits, using a big chunk of their retirement savings. They had been counting on my help to cover the remaining $60,000. They tried guilt-tripping me again, saying they might have to sell their house because of the financial strain. They even suggested that if I had agreed to help in the first place, none of this would have happened. I told them that was ridiculous. Their financial problems weren't my responsibility. They made their choice 4 years ago when they decided to support their cheating son over their honest one. The real bombshell dropped last week during a family gathering. Mom was talking to my aunt about their financial troubles and accidentally let slip that they had been giving Mitch loans since his college days. These weren't small amounts either. They had been regularly transferring thousands of dollars to help him maintain his lifestyle. When my aunt pressed for details, the truth came out. Over the years, my parents had loaned Mitch more than $200,000 from their fund. He had always promised to pay it back once he got promoted at work, but instead, he spent it all on expensive gifts for his various girlfriends, luxury vacations, and as we later discovered, gambling. They kept this secret because they didn't want to embarrass Mitch or damage his reputation. Meanwhile, I had worked multiple jobs to put myself through college and build my business from scratch, never asking them for a penny. When confronted with all this, Mitch showed his true nature. He actually told our parents that they owed him that money because they had always promised to give him the best in life. He said he deserved it more than me because he was their real son who stayed loyal to family instead of choosing outsiders like Laura. That was finally the wake-up call my parents needed. Dad had a minor heart attack from all the stress, and they finally realized how toxic Mitch's influence has been on our family. They reached out with a proper apology this time, acknowledging years of unfair treatment and enabling Mitch's behavior. They want to try rebuilding our relationship, but honestly, I'm not sure I want to. The damage has been done, and I've built a good life without them. Laura and I are engaged now, planning our wedding for next spring, and we're thinking of moving to another city for a fresh start. Last I heard, Mitch moved in with one of the women he was cheating with, and he's still trying to convince our parents to help him financially. Some things never change, but at least now everyone sees him for who he really is. Laura suggested we invite my parents to our wedding as a gesture of goodwill, but I'm not ready for that. Maybe someday we can work on rebuilding our relationship, but right now, I need to focus on my future with Laura and keep toxic influences out of our lives. Update 3. A lot has happened since my last update. Mitch's life has completely imploded in ways even I couldn't have predicted. After Emily exposed his cheating, things started falling apart at his workplace too. Several female coworkers came forward with harassment complaints, revealing that Mitch had been pursuing multiple relationships in the office and creating a hostile work environment. His company conducted an investigation and found inappropriate emails, messages, and evidence that he had been using company resources to facilitate his affairs. They fired him immediately. His professional reputation is completely destroyed, apparently. Word travels fast in our industry, and no one wants to hire someone with his history. The gambling problem we discovered turned out to be much worse than anyone thought. My parents finally went through their bank statements and discovered Mitch had been forging their signatures to take out additional loans. They're working with a lawyer now to try to recover some of the money, but it seems Mitch lost most of it at underground poker games and sports betting. Emily moved back to her hometown and wants nothing to do with Mitch. She's having a baby girl next month and has made it clear that Mitch won't be involved in their lives unless he gets serious help for his issues. He hasn't even tried to fight this decision, probably because being a father would mean having financial responsibilities. My parents have been trying really hard to make amends with me. They show up at my office every week with home-cooked meals, send long emails apologizing for the past, and even offered to pay for my wedding with Laura as a way to make up for everything. We declined. Laura and I have already planned and paid for our intimate beach ceremony with just our closest friends. The most surprising thing was Mitch trying to reach out to Laura. He sent her this long email, claiming he had seen the error of his ways and wanted to apologize. But his true motives became clear when he asked if she could help him get a job through her tech industry connections. Laura didn't even bother responding. She just blocked his email. Last month, my parents asked if they could be invited to our wedding. I had to be firm with them. I told them that they lost the right to be part of my major life events when they chose to enable and defend Mitch's terrible behavior for years. Their current attempts to make things right only started after Mitch's true nature was exposed to everyone, not because they genuinely understood how wrong they were. The only family members who'll be at our wedding are the ones who stood by us through everything, and Susan, who exposed my parents' lies, a few cousins who never believed Mitch's stories, and friends who became family when my actual family abandoned me. Laura and I are done with all the drama. We're moving to Seattle after our wedding, where my company is opening a new office, and Laura got an amazing job offer with a major tech firm. We're excited about building our life together, away from toxic family dynamics. Mitch is now living in a small apartment and working at a local store since no one in our industry will hire him. He still tries to convince anyone who'll listen that everything that happened was somehow my fault, claiming I orchestrated his downfall because I was jealous of him. No one believes him anymore, but it shows he hasn't changed at all. I finally found peace with my decision to maintain minimal contact with my parents and no contact with Mitch. Sometimes the family you choose is better than the family you're born into. Laura and I are happy, successful, and surrounded by people who genuinely care about us. That's all we need. Seeing Mitch's life fall apart isn't satisfying. It's just sad. But it's a reminder that karma catches up eventually, and that standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult, is always worth it in the end.